Hi, friends. Welcome. We're so excited to have you join us for this webinar called From Zoomers to Millennials, Meaningful Ways to Connect You and Your Family History. My name's Amanda Terry, and I work for Family Search. I've worked for Family Search for almost 17 years, and I love it. And I work in change management right now. I've had several different roles, but I work with a wonderful team, and we get to work globally and help all of our friends and those that we work with prepare for the changes that happen so often. And my colleague, Lindsay, is here and she'll introduce herself.
My name is Lindsay Coffey. I also work for Family Search, and I've been here for about 3 years now, and I get to do the exact same stuff that Amanda does because we get to work together. She's my manager, so it is so fun to be here amongst friends. All right, well, thank you guys for joining us today. This is super exciting, and we hope that you are inspired by what we have to share and you get some ideas. So this class is geared towards those who were born in the late 1980s to the 1990s, often referred to as millennials, or for those who were born in the late 1990s to the late 2000s, sometimes called Zoomers. Maybe you were born during these years, or you have millennials or Zoomers in your family. Either way, you're in the right place. It can be hard to find meaningful, fun, and interesting activities for millennials and Zoomers relating to family discovery. Here are a ton of activities for kids and youth and lots to do if you like research and are retired. But what about those who want to explore and discover more about themselves or might not be married or have kids? Are there engaging family history activities out there? The answer is absolutely yes. We have a variety of activities to share with you that can be done in groups, in person, remote, by yourself, with family members, or other friends, or some combination of all the above. But no worries about trying to write everything down or get screenshots of this content. It's all available in our syllabus with links, and the class session is being recorded. It will be available in a couple of weeks on rootstech.org. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. We hope that you'll share that we have some fun ideas to share with you and some interesting activities for millennials and Zoomers. In the classroom setting chat, you can also chat with us and welcome. We're so excited to have you. So feel free to continue and share any ideas that you have, and we will definitely interact with you. And welcome. We're going to go ahead and just get on started. So, Amanda, you want to take over?
All right. So, looking at this picture, there's a lot of stories that could be told about this photo. But this is one of my favorite activities that I did with a group of friends. We went to the Family Search Library in downtown Salt Lake City, Utah, and we spent a couple of hours just interacting with the various discovery activities that they have there. And it was so much fun. And you can see here, we took a photo together. We ended up somewhere in the jungles on this sketchy bridge, but we made it through, so it's okay. But we got to choose from different photos that were available. You could look at where your family members came from, your ancestors, and choose different photos there. There were historical photos. It was so much fun. And so these are available in person if you live locally, of course, in Salt Lake. But for those that don't, we know that this is a global conference. And so a lot of these discovery activities are online, which is awesome. And so you get to have some of those same experiences if you choose. So we'll be going through some of these as well. And we got to learn about our family names, when we were born, different things that happened that year, famous people that we were related to. It was so much fun and just was a really fun highlight that we did together as a group of friends. So that was one of the engaging activities that I've done. There's so many more that we'd love to share. And I feel that it's a lot more fun to do things in groups, although there's times I like to do things by myself. So one of the things that you can do is have a watch party. Now, this isn't like, anything weird or strange. This is just inviting a bunch of friends together and being able to watch a show together. You're already watching TV, right? Yeah, I can see everybody's hands raised if you watch TV. We all do, and you may not be aware of some of these really fun and engaging shows like Relative Race. It happens to be on the BYU channel. Who Do You Think You Are? You can find that on YouTube. Long Lost Family, that's a story about, or a show about people that are adopted that find their birth families. So it's just really interesting, and you might need tissues sometimes, but just fun to come together and watch the show together. Relative Race is kind of like Amazing Race meets Family Discovery. And so they get to meet all these family members and end up, there's a prize at the end, and it's just a lot of fun. And so there's competition in it too. Who Do You Think You Are? I think a lot of people are familiar with that. Working with famous people and finding out their backgrounds and then visiting those countries. So any of these are really fun, and there's more that are coming out all the time. So check online on the web, or check your local stations for some of these types of shows, and then just invite some friends over. Hey, Lindsay, do you have a favorite family discovery show that you like to watch?
I thoroughly enjoy watching the Relative Race, because I think it's so fun to watch these people not only do physical activities, but then at the end they get to discover who they're related to. And some of these are just absolutely heartwarming events, and it just makes my heart so happy, because you know that they've been yearning to connect with their family for so long. So I love watching the connections that are made.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, and there's funny moments and interesting moments, and it's really engaging TV, and probably better than the nightly news. So a lot more positive.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So you can do those watch parties, which is wonderful. You can also level it up and have everybody that comes over, wherever you're gathering, have everyone bring a favorite dish, maybe a family recipe that they enjoy, or maybe something that represents their heritage. Come together, you can watch the show, you can eat together. There's just something really special about learning about each other's heritage and where our families come from. I remember a Friendsgiving dinner that I had with a group of friends that was a lot of fun, and everybody brought a different part of the meal. And we came together, and some people brought a family recipe. And so we got to share a little bit about that. And it was just so fun to hear these stories and share this meal together.
We actually did an activity once where we called it Heritage Desserts. And so we had everybody bring like a favorite recipe that maybe grandma made. And although I had actually never tried this before, I found a recipe for shoe fly pie. And so it's an old-timey recipe, and it was so fun because I made a shoe fly pie, and we got to taste and experience it. And we also did I think it was called either a sugar pie or a milk pie, and that's pretty much all it was, but it was so much fun. And then people had brought their favorite cookie recipes and their cake recipes, and we just had this display of heritage desserts, and it was so much fun to sit around and eat dessert, because I mean, who doesn't love dessert, right?
I'm interested about the shoe fly pie. I don't think I've heard that one before.
There's actually a song about it too. Yeah. Oh, that's fun.
So another kind of family discovery activity that you can do with a group of people is called Get Involved. And if you haven't heard of Get Involved, it's on familysearch.org, and it's a bunch of volunteer activities that anyone can do. And they're really simple, they're really easy for the most part. There's some that are a little more challenging than others, and there's more that are coming, which is really cool too. So there's lots of different opportunities. If you don't like one, you might like another. So these you can use your mobile device, which is wonderful. So you can do this when you're out and about too, or like I said, when you come together. And maybe in the past you've done some indexing parties. This is very similar, but we call them get involved parties. And so this is where you would bring your mobile device or your laptop, and you would work on these quick name reviews, these full name reviews. And basically what it is it's looking at historical records that have been digitally indexed by a computer, but it needs a review. It needs a human review. And so as you get together, you have some help there. If you get stuck, you can work together on it. You can standardize places. That's another activity. And it's just easy to pick up, fun to do, and just a way to contribute and help others be able to find their family. And who knows, you might come across some of your ancestors as well.
You know, I taught a class one day and I had introduced Get Involved, and a gentleman had snuck in late and he was standing in the doorway and he hurried and popped it up on his phone. And it took him less than 30 seconds to do a quick little Get Involved thing. And he was so excited. He said, I had no idea that it was this easy. Yes, it is. It is just that easy and fun to do. You can engage anybody.
Yeah, it is. And we're gonna share a couple of screenshots of what it looks like. So this first one is called Quick Name Review. And it's basically looking at a digital image where the computer has identified names on this record, this digitized record. And all you have to do is just basically click a few times to go around to the different names, to move from one name to another, and then determine if it's the same or if it's different. And if it's different, maybe the computer got it wrong, then you can go ahead and edit that and correct it. And so that's where that review part is really helpful. And then you can do 10 names if you want. You can do 20. I think you can do up to 50. And then it will ask you, do you want to do some more? And you can do some more. And it's really easy, really simple, and fun. And then another activity that's on Get Involved is called Verify Places. So this is pulling information from Family Search's family tree, and it's place names that have not been standardized for some reason. And maybe there's only part of it, maybe there's abbreviations, and so the computer didn't recognize the actual place name. So with some help from what the computer thinks it might be to standardize, and then looking at the record, you can actually a lot of times determine what that standardized place is. And so then you can edit it, and you have you're helping to make those places more accurate. You're improving the accuracy of the family tree, which is a great contribution. And again, a fun thing to do by yourself, but definitely do it in a group, because then you can also say, hey, like, what do you think this is? You know, based on this information, I think it's this. Do you think it's that? And just kind of get a second opinion and see how much you can do. You can even add a little friendly competition into it and see how many you can do in a given amount of time.
You know what is also fun about these activities is we spend our days waiting in line. Might be waiting to get food, or we're going through a car wash, or maybe we're waiting to pick up kids from one of their sporting activities. We can open this up and participate and do a little Get Involved or Verified place, and we're doing something positive, and we're also helping to update these records and make them more accurate and more searchable. And you can do it anywhere. So it's just super, super fun.
Awesome. Love that. And like we said, you can do this by yourself. You can do this with your family, have a little family competition, or grab some friends and get together. And if just food makes everything better, I think. So, you know, bring a dish over, bring a pot, have a potluck together as well. And it can turn into a party, a Get Involved party.
Totally.
Okay. So speaking of food, you can tell we like food. But what I really love about this idea of connecting food and family discovery is that, I know about my heritage and at least some of my heritage, but I love to learn about other people's heritage. And where their families are from and the recipes, like Lindsay was mentioning, shoe fly pie. I need to look that one up.
It's a fun one. And an
So
acquired taste.
Oh, interesting. So you've probably seen some of the different food shows on the different networks, and there's one that's called Chopped, and kind of the premise of it is there's a bunch of different unique ingredients that are put together in a basket, and the chef has to come up with some sort of recipe to be judged. And so the idea here is take that concept, only put a family discovery twist on it. And so have everyone come together. So invite your friends over, invite family members, whomever, and have everybody bring something from their heritage, maybe a unique kind of food. And then, and the host can kind of organize this in advance, or you can kind of do this together and bring, some of those ingredients together in a basket, and then put together a few others. So you have a couple of teams. And then you give them a time limit. So maybe it's 45 minutes, maybe it's half an hour, and maybe give them like a specific kind of round, like this is the dessert round, or this is the main course round, or this is the Latin American round. And so you have to come up with a recipe that's from Latin America or from Europe or Germany, or, whatever you choose, just to kind of make it a little more interesting, maybe a little more challenging. And then a time limit is given, and the team goes to work to creating some sort of dish. And you'll want to ask some additional family or friends to come over and be judges. And then they get to try out the food, see what they like, and maybe there's a prize that you want to share. So it just is kind of this twist. There's a lot of adaptation you can take to it. But the idea, again, is coming together, learning about each other's heritage, and just having a good time. Lindsay, you mentioned that heritage table. That kind of reminds me of this a little bit.
Yeah, and I have another one too. So yeah, I talked about the heritage table earlier, but another fun one that we did is we did it with ramen noodles. So it was kind of a ramen noodle competition to see who could make the best version of a ramen noodle something. So they all started with just the generic packs of ramen noodles, but then all the youth, we provided a whole bunch of ingredients, and then they got to make their specialty ramen dish, and then had a little judge come through and see which one they liked best. And it was so fun watching these kids get engaged in making a fancy ramen noodle. So that was so fun.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. And that sounds yummy. I can go for ramen noodles.
So good. So good.
All right. So after you've enjoyed a meal together, eaten together, maybe then you come together and play some games. Again, we're probably already doing this as we get together with our friends and family. I know we like to play games in my family. And so there's just something fun about getting together. So instead of maybe playing, the typical Monopoly or Jeopardy, maybe you put a family discovery twist on it. So maybe you do something like what's called Genopardy. And this is actually online. The links are in the syllabus, so you can go to those. And this ties in with your Family Search family tree. And it creates what looks like a Jeopardy board, but it's based on family tree. Now, maybe this is something that would be more, this would be better to do with your family, because then people might actually know the answers to some of those. But it still could be fun with friends too, to kind of learn about each other's family and ancestors. So that's a fun one. You can, we've all heard of the escape rooms. You've probably been to a bunch of them. You can create your own family discovery version. There's a couple of online versions that you can access. Again, they're in the syllabus. You can also create your own. It's really not too difficult to just set up some props in a room and have some locks. A lot of escape rooms have different locks that you got to figure out the numbers. It takes a little bit of preparation, but just putting that family discovery twist on it can be really engaging for the group. Another idea, there's just so many to choose from, but with all that's going on with AI, artificial intelligence, I thought I'm going to ask AI what it thinks, if what to create a fun family discovery game. And it came up with something that actually sounded pretty fun. So it was kind of a trivia based game. And you can give it different prompts, but you can even reach out to AI and see what it comes up with, and then kind of adapt it or prompt it how you want it till you get it to a game that would be fun for family or friends.
Using AI can be an absolute game changer. No pun intended, but it's true. So many cool things we can do with AI.
Absolutely. And it can save a lot of time too.
Yeah.
Another fun activity that is game oriented, our colleague Miguel actually came up with. So it's a shout out to Miguel. This was a lot of fun, and we did this as a team. So this was a team building experience that we had. And he created this family story bingo card basically for each person. And there's these different phrases or prompts on there. So you can see, has an ancestor who wrote letters or kept a journal, has a family member who was a teacher, has a unique middle name in the family. So there's these different kind of characteristics. And so Miguel would call those out. And then if we had that on our bingo sheet and we had a story associated with that, we would put down the marker. And then once we called bingo, then we would share each of those story snippets from the ones that had been covered. And it was so much fun. We were laughing and just having a great time learning about each other's family. And so I told them, I said, can I use this? I love this idea. And you can adapt it to make it a little simpler, if it's for family with maybe younger kids, or for, the Zoomers and millennial groups. You can make it maybe a little more interesting, maybe, daredevil activities or some of the extreme activities like bungee jumping, who's been bungee jumping or who's been skydiving or something like that. And it'd be really interesting to hear each other's stories about that.
Yeah, we had so much fun. Yeah, we had so much fun doing that and just sharing the stories because, and especially the funny ones. I shared a story about my grandpa out when he was farming and he was wearing a hat and had an unfortunate run-in with a seagull. And so we had a good laugh with that. And it was just so fun to get to know everybody's family stories, because stories connect us, and they connect us to our ancestors. And then we realize the kind of lives that they lived, they're totally relatable. Maybe we haven't had the exact same experiences, but we get it. We get the struggles, we get the triumphs, we get the challenges and all the fun things in between. And it was so fun. This was a fun game that we played for sure.
It helps us connect on that human level. Love that.
Absolutely. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some service activities. You may or may not have thought of some of these in the past, but these are activities that you can do to get involved. There are so many little societies, archives, and libraries that often have limited staff, and many of them are volunteers themselves. And so I want to just throw a couple of suggestions out there of ways that you can involve either your family, your friends, and maybe do some service. So I want to talk to you about one of my favorite ones was this museums. And my mom and I had gone down to do a little project that I had to do for school, but they needed help moving records from one part of their building to the other. So it was really kind of cool to be able to not only get to meet these folks, but to volunteer and help. And I had mentioned too, genealogical societies, they're often looking for volunteers to help fill records requests, because some of these little facilities have record sets that are not digitized, that are not public anywhere. And people write in or email and say, hey, can we get a copy of this or that? And they often need help with filling those requests. So look for opportunities in your communities to serve. Another fun one is cemeteries, because cemeteries often welcome volunteers to assist with various tasks. On pleasant days, You might help plant or paint fences. Oh, plant fences. That would be fun, huh? Paint fences, mow and trim grass, plant flowers, decorate for the holidays, or clean up branches or debris after winter or even storms. Additional volunteers may be needed to clean or repair toppled or broken headstones. Before you do any of those big things, though, make sure you have you've chatted with those that are taking care of the cemetery and you have permission to do those. But another idea is to plan a group cemetery activity where you're documenting specific things using specific apps. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that because you're going to be doing a little act of service here and you're preserving our history for future generations. So here's some of the ones that I love to use. And as you can see here, these are my kids. I've taken my kids to more cemeteries than they probably care to count, all across the country. But we have found how it can be so educational spending some time in cemeteries. So some of the ones that I like to use are Find a Grave, Billion Graves, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the Family Search cemeteries. So I'm a volunteer for Find a Grave and for Billion Graves. And as a volunteer, what I get to do is somebody will send in a request, and then I will go and take pictures of headstones and fill those photo requests. Sometimes if I'm there and I notice that there's somebody that does not have a memorial, then I will create a memorial page. I can also use these apps to locate different cemeteries, which is super helpful. And then another thing you can do is plot the GPS coordinates of headstones. Now, I want to actually tell you about a real life incident here that just happened about 2 or 3 weeks ago. The Kentucky and the Ohio states, they had some terrible flooding. And I saw a picture online, and a flood had come down through a cemetery, and they had a mudslide and had taken out a whole bunch of headstones. And it got me thinking how awesome it is, because when we go in and we plot those GPS coordinates, these people that are going to now do the repairs of the cemetery are going to have information to help identify exactly where those displaced headstones should go. So, I encourage everybody to go and plot the GPS and take pictures, because sometimes things happen and headstones break, or they're just lost to time and weathering. So going out and preserving our history that way is a super fun thing to do. And it gets you out in the weather, and sometimes when it's beautiful and sunny, and you get to spend time in a very beautiful, peaceful, and sometimes even sacred area. Another fun thing I want to talk to you about is the Family Search cemeteries. I don't know if you are aware of this one, but this is really cool. Again, with this site, you can locate, or you can search a specific location. You can find a person's name. You can view all the relatives that you are related to in that specific cemetery, and you can see your relationship to them. So if you haven't come over and spent some time with the Family Search cemeteries, you need to, because there's a lot of cool things that you can do there.
And Lindsay, that's based on family tree relationships.
Yes.
Right? Family Search. Family
Yes.
That's where it's pulling that information. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate you calling that out for me. Okay. So another fun one I want to, if you aren't aware, I want to introduce you to, and this may also be another additional opportunity to serve. There are several Facebook groups, and I just listed just a couple here, but there's opportunities on the web where you can go and either receive acts of service and help, or if you have a skill set that you can in turn kind of pay it forward, you can do the same thing. So I'm going to just tell you one of my favorite ones that I have participated in personally is it's a group on, it's open to everybody on Facebook, called Random Acts of Photo Restoration. So you see this little picture here in the middle. This is my husband's 90-year-old grandma, and I found this picture and tucked in some papers, and it actually was on its way to the trash, but it, by providence, fell out. And I wanted to preserve this because this is the only known photo we have of her at this age. And so I scanned it and I shared it up on this random acts of photo restoration. And several people, and when I say several, I mean several people, did all these beautiful restorations. But my favorite one ended up being by my friend Robin Clark from Memory Lane Photos. We weren't friends at the time, but because she did this for me, we have since connected. And I have a friend who I've never met in person, but we have been friends now for 8 years through Facebook. So there's more connection that we've made there, or I have made there, by this act of service. And those opportunities are out there for everybody. Another really cool one is there's different groups like DNA Search Angels. So if you are an adoptee or you have a situation where you just don't know who one of your parents are, there are groups out there that will totally volunteer, help you find answers if at all available. And this is just a few of them. But what's really cool is if you have skills, kind of like I had mentioned before, and if you're really good at Photoshop, or you're a really good researcher and somebody has a question, you joined one of these groups, you can actually help them. And that's something that I personally have done as well. I've been able to ask or answer questions that other people have asked. And so it feels good to kind of pay it forward where, Robin did this really cool picture for me. I went and helped on a different site and paid it forward and was able to help somebody who had some Civil War questions. So there's lots of ideas that you could do. And this is just on Facebook, but so many things are out there. So we're going to just kind of briefly talk about some individual activities. Now, yes, a lot of these things actually you can do as an individual in a group that we've already mentioned before. And the same is kind of to be said for the things we're going to talk about right now. So one of my favorite things to do, again, is using the power of social media to connect. With Facebook, I have created several groups for my cousins. And it's kind of fun because, some of these folks are like, yeah, family history isn't my jam. However, when I post pictures or if I ask questions, all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, hey, I have a picture of Grandpa sitting on his old horse. And then they will share their pictures and tell their stories and their memories. And guess what? They're engaging in family history. So I love to create these groups. Especially on Facebook, for example, I can control the privacy. So only those that I invite can be in there. So we're not getting spammed, or people that maybe have no interest in our family, they can't join. And that way our family and our friends, if, feel comfortable sharing maybe things that we don't want the public to know, but are really cool stories that would pertain to our family. We can share memories, ask questions, and that invites answers and reactions. Another cool thing is I create events. So if we're going to do a family reunion, I'll go in and create an event and post it here so that everybody knows what's going on. And again, all of this fosters connection. Another one I love to use is Instagram. Instagram, of course, isn't as private. You don't do the groups necessarily like we do on Facebook. However, I love this one because this is a fun picture that was taken of my grandfather, I think somewhere in the 60s. And I shared this, and the reactions that I got from my friends was so fun because I was hearing, oh yeah, hey, those are wooden skis. I've never skied on wooden skis, things like that. And of course, my cousins jumped in. I've never seen this picture of Grandpa. Like, I know, isn't it awesome? So much as we did on Facebook, sharing memories, sharing stories, asking questions, inviting, invite answers to your questions, all fostering connection, all doing family history. They just don't know it. And one cool thing about Instagram is you can also share those things directly to Facebook. So you can kind of get a 2-for-1. So you're not having to duplicate your efforts. All right. So I want to share another fun little thing that you can do. This was a fun initiative that was actually started by a stake in Spanish Fork. This initiative is called Take 5 for Family. And this is something that every single person anywhere can do. And it kind of came up with the premise of, first thing in the morning, what do? We wake up and most of us might check our phones and, check that social media, see what's going on in the news, see what text messages we may have missed. And so we decided we're going to see what good we can do in 5 minutes every morning before doing all those things. So before you do the things, take 5 minutes for family. And what does that look like? I got a whole list of suggestions for you, and so simple. So family search ideas, you could get involved. I'd mentioned the gentleman that he was standing in the doorway and it spent 30 seconds and he was able to complete a full thing on get involved. Memories, you can upload a memory if you've taken a photo recently, or if you found a photo, or maybe you even sat down and interviewed grandma, upload that to memories, save it. You can complete tasks on Family Search and attach those record hints. You can maybe spend a minute or two searching historical records. The cool thing about these things is a lot of the stuff you can track your contributions, and you're going to see in those 5 minutes how those contributions add up. And when I did this in a month's time, just taking that 5 minutes for family, I had made over 5,000 contributions. That is not to brag. It is to show you that in 5 minutes, those little efforts can totally add up. So not only am I helping myself and connecting with my family and preserving my own family history, but if I'm participating in some of these other activities, I am helping others be able to find the records and such that will help connect their families. And additional ideas are hints and memories on other genealogical sites like Ancestry or MyHeritage or Find My Past. Again, sharing on social media, engaging people in family history without them thinking they're engaging in family history is kind of fun. You can do memory books such as Chatbooks and Shutterfly. That's kind of digital journaling. I'm a working mom. I actually have a little mom guilt because I don't get to sit down and journal all the things that I would love to do. But I have a digital journal in my hand, and so I can upload pictures to one of these sites. And this is just a couple. There's lots and lots of amazing places you could do that with. But then you are doing your own family history by creating these books. And again, journaling, regular old journaling can be so therapeutic and so neat. I've recently inherited a bunch of journals from my grandparents, and it is so cool to go back and read and see their handwriting and hear their stories. These all things you can do in 5 minutes or less every single morning, and watch. You're going to see how your contributions add up. Amanda, would you tell us about some of the other discovery activities that we can do?
Yeah, these are all really great ideas, Lindsay. My head is spinning because I'm thinking of how I can try this and share some of these new ideas that I hadn't thought of before. And I love to see how family history or family discovery is not just one thing. It's 100 different things, and you get to choose what you like and what fits best for you. So kind of keeping along this theme of quick 5-minute family history activities, I'd like to introduce you to Family Search's discovery activities. These are all online experiences that you can access at FamilySearch.org. You can go ahead and sign into your Family Search account if you have one. If you don't, you can set up a free account and access these and start adding information to your family tree, because that's how a lot of these connect in, is through your family tree. And as you are looking through these, you might see some that really catch your eye, like famous relatives, and you get to find out the famous people that you're related to. I didn't realize I was related to some royalty in England, and I'm not on the short list for any kind of royalty title. But just that idea is kind of fun. Or famous athletes or famous actors and actresses. And it's like, I didn't know that I was related to any of those people. And yet through the technology that allows us to see how we're related through the family tree, we're able to learn more about those. Compare-A-Face is another really fun one. Basically, you upload a photo of yours, and then it compares. It looks at the other photos that you've uploaded of your family and see which ancestors or family members you look the most like. Kind of interesting. Most of mine are men. I'm not sure what that says about me, but it's still fun to kind of see the family resemblance, maybe in the shape of the eyes or the nose or the ears. So just really fun. And we have a bunch of new ones that have come out in the last year or two. So my connections, my lookalikes, the photo collage, you can upload photos and actually create your own little collage and print it out. You could give it as a gift. You could put it up in your house, in your room. Just really cool ideas and to help you connect to your family. And then, this one, if you're attending Roots Tech, and if you're not, then you wouldn't be here, but you're here, so you're attending Roots Tech. So go to relatives at Roots Tech, and Lindsay's going to drop the link in the chat. We encourage you to go. It's free, totally free. And right now there's over 400,000 people that are signed up for Relatives at Roots Tech. And so when you sign in, you get to see all these people that you're related to, and it'll show you like which family line, maternal line, paternal line, which ancestor, which family member it's connected to. And you get to see you're related to all these people that are attending Roots Tech, both in person and online. And so I think the last time I looked, there was like 21,000 people that I was related to. And whoa, that's crazy. But it's just really fun. You can reach out through Family Search's chat application and contact them, see if they want to connect, and you can connect online. If you're at Roots Tech in person, you can meet up there. And it's just this idea of discovering more about who you are, about who your family is, and learning those stories and hearing maybe stories you hadn't heard about. In fact, Lindsay and I found out through Relatives at Roots Tech that we're 10th cousins. So, hey guys, have you had a fun time with Relatives at Roots Tech?
Totally. This has been so much fun because I've actually found family members on this one particular branch of my family that there's no other way I would have been able to connect with them. And it's been so fun because they've been able to share stories and pictures that I didn't even know existed. And now I have lifelong cousin friends, because we're family. And it's so fun to connect. I love Relatives at Roots Tech. It's one of those things that it's one of my favorite things about Roots Tech.
And didn't you post a link on social media so that you could see how you're related to even some of your friends?
Oh, I did. And it was so fun. I do this every year, and it's so fun to see everybody that jumps on and connects, because then I find that I have more cousins out there that live even just in my little, in my community that I had no idea were related to me. And it's so fun. I even found I had a second cousin and we were in the same ward. No clue. Had no clue. So fun. I love Relatives at Roots Tech. And it's another way to engage all of our friends and our family in doing some family history and connecting and just fostering that connection that we yearn for. So I love Relatives at Roots Tech. It's so
awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
And the nice thing is it actually extends past the Roots Tech conference. So Roots Tech conference ends today on March 8th, but it's available through April 11th. So more people can still get on and connect and see who they're related to and access people in the Family Search chat and see if they want to connect.
Absolutely. It's so much fun. So another fun way, and Amanda had actually kind of mentioned this before, is using the Family Search chat to connect with the people that are, attending Roots Tech. And it doesn't even have to be Roots Tech. This could be anybody that's using Family Search and that you want to chat with, different users and stuff. So it's really cool because you can connect with others who are contributing to the tree. So if I have a cousin like Amanda here, she posts a picture, or in this case, look, I shared a picture with her and said, hey, have you seen this ancestor? And she's like, oh, yes, this is my great grandma so-and-so. And then we went through and had this really cool discussion. You can connect that way. You can obviously chat with your other attendees at Relative or at Roots Tech here. Just sharing memories is just amazing. There's just something that's so cool about that. And then you can also create a family group, so you can sit there and chat amongst your family. And hey, where are we going to meet up for lunch if you're here at Roots Tech? Or hey, I just found this really cool thing. I'm over at the library and I found this that grandma was mentioned in this book, and you can share that. So Family Search Chat is a fantastic way to connect. And you can also connect with people you don't know. And I've done this multiple times. You say, hey, thank you so much for sharing this cool letter that you just uploaded. I did not even know this existed, and I think this is so neat. So many ways to connect using Family Search Chat.
Awesome ideas. And it was fun to see that photo. That was cool.
So fun.
So you may not have heard, but there is a new app that is available from Family Search called Together. It was shared. I should go back a little bit. It was on Family Search Labs. If you're not familiar with Family Search Labs, it's an online Family Search website that has different experiments on it where you can go in and access them, share feedback, try them out before they become products. And maybe some of them may not become full-fledged products, but you get to share your feedback and try it out. And it's just really, really cool. And so one of those things that was on Labs was called the Together by Family Search app. And if you've seen the Family Search Tech Forum that's online here at Roots Tech, you'll hear more about it, but it's this separate application. So we have the Family Tree app, we have the Memories app, we have the Get Involved app, and now we have the Together app. And it's filled with a lot of these discovery activities that we've been sharing, along with a bunch more. It's a way to easily create your family stories without much effort. Basically, the system or the app itself, has these questions that it asks you. You type in a few things. You can do this on your mobile device, and it puts it together for you in a story, in a narrative format. Mm-hmm. You can avatar your family. I had a blast with that. That was fun. And then, there's just all these different places where you can talk about your favorite vacations. You can talk about your favorite heroes, your favorite foods, just all your favorites. Maybe some things are a little more serious or spiritual connected to you. And it can house all this information, and you choose who you share it with. And so it's just really fun. It's available in 40 language worldwide, with more coming. And so we encourage you to go try it out. It is available on the Family Search website. And if you click activities at the top of the Family Search website, you'll see it as an option. So Lindsay, have you downloaded the Together app?
I have. I love it. It's so fun. But it's really cool because we can engage our family members and our kids, adults, grandparents, anybody. So this is kind of one of those apps that literally goes from all the generations, the boomers, the zoomers, all of them, and it's so great. I love doing the favorites, and it's very, very intuitive. You can just follow along. It's not hard, like you said. It's so easy. It's so easy, and I love the narrative form that it puts it in, and we're recording our history. So it's such a great idea and such a great way to engage so many people in different activities.
And if you want, I mentioned a little earlier, I'm a little on the competitive side with the games and things, with the family games, but they have a leaderboard experience. So each activity that you complete, you accumulate points. And then you can see in your family, who's has the most points. That means they're doing the most activities. Yep. So again, a way that sort of disguises that you're doing a family discovery or family history experience. And yet, because it's fun and engaging, people will want to do it of all ages, like you said.
Absolutely. I love the competition part of it. It's just kind of fun.
So, did I mention earlier about traveling? I love traveling. I think there's so much that we can learn from each other as we visit other communities and other cultures and just learn about each other. I think we gain better understanding and I think there can be more peace in the world when we understand each other. So, another thing that you can do that's fun and engaging and kind of a discovery experience, really, is to travel virtually. This became really popular during COVID, during the pandemic. And, a lot of us, it's hard to get the money together and the time off together to go travel somewhere fun and exciting, especially exotic or globally. And so this is a way that you can do it without having to pay any money. There's so many free sites out there that are available, and the technology is so much better than it was even a few years ago, where you can get these 360-degree views of places, almost kind of like a virtual, reality almost experience. So you can, and Lindsay, you can advance to the next screen there. Thanks.
Yeah.
So you can go to places where your ancestors lived virtually. Maybe you have family from England or Egypt or Latin America, and you can go to these places on like Google Earth and see them as if you were there. And so it's just really cool to be able to connect in this way and really bring it to life, again, with like on a budget.
Mm-hmm. Technology is fantastic. I love when we can go see things that we never dreamed we could see.
Yeah.
So fun. So fun.
Oh, and did I mention it's fun to eat together too? I think I've mentioned that a few times.
We're all about that for sure.
But again, like it's something that, brings people together and different cultures, different traditions, coming together, talking about it, sharing, having that community feel that you were talking about earlier, Lindsay. I think that's really important in today's world, that sense of our community family, our world family, and bringing us together on that human level. So along with, the traveling virtually, do something together with a group and have everybody bring their favorite dish or their favorite family recipe. So there's lots more links in the syllabus around these kinds of ideas, and you can see what you like. There's museums, there's again, like literal places that you can go to virtually, and it's not quite like being there, but it's certainly really close.
Absolutely.
All right. So we've shared a lot of discovery experiences and adventures. What family history adventures or family discovery adventures await you and your friends? Any that you'd like to share? If so, we'd love to see it in the chat. And that can give us new ideas and give each other different ideas. What resources have you found that's been helpful to you in learning more about your family that have been fun and engaging? Go ahead and share those too. We hope that, we know this has been a lot, so we hope it hasn't been overwhelming, but maybe just think about one or two that really kind of stuck out to you, or maybe one or two that you could adapt that could work for you and your friends or you and your family. And then consider how you might do it. Try it out, maybe make some adaptations, get a group together. Of course, you got to bring some food and just have fun.
Yep, absolutely. So fun. Well, should we take were there any questions in the chat or anything we might be able to answer?
I think Kathy's going to help us out with that. Thanks, Kathy.
Awesome. Yep, thank you so much, Lindsay and Amanda. We do have a few questions. From Wendy F. McKinney, under whose name would you post the recipes on Family Search?
Whose name? Well, that's a good question. If it was a recipe that, say, my grandma Bart did, she used to make these Congo bars. I don't know if you're familiar with that. They're kind of like a fluffy chocolate chip cookie. I would post those recipes under her, because it was hers. And I also have her handwritten. I have a picture of her 3x5 recipe card. You guys all remember those? So I took a picture of that and put that under her, so it's totally safe. That's how I would do it. Yep.
Okay, great. From Lou Jean, what AI program did you use to create a family history game?
Oh, yeah. So there's a bunch out there that you can use. There's ChatGPT, there's Microsoft Copilot, there's Claude, there's others that I don't even probably know what their names are. But the one that I used was Microsoft Copilot. It was simple, it was easy, and it helped me to find some ideas, and then I could kind of adapt it to what works for me. But just even asking it, it gave me ideas I wouldn't have even thought of. So it was sort of a whole nother level of ideas and experiences that you could include as a family discovery activity.
Okay, thank you. From Marcia Porter Pack, are these apps you've been talking about within Family Search, or are they separate apps?
So there's a little bit of both. So there's 4 separate apps that you can download from the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. And that would be the Family Search Family Tree, the Family Search Memories app, the Get Involved app. It has a blue background with the Family Search Family Tree logo. And then the Together app is the new one. It has kind of a magenta background with that same family tree logo. So those 4 apps are separate apps, but a lot of those experiences are also on the web. So the family trees on the web, the memories are on the web, Get Involved activities are on the web. And a lot of those discovery activities in Together are also available on the web version. So you can, if you'd rather do it on the web, bigger screen, you can do that. But it's fun to be able to do it mobily, because then you can do it when you're visiting family. Maybe you're at a family reunion. So, Lindsay, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think that's absolutely right. And there's lots of other fun things you can do. If you just turn to Google, all-knowing Google, there you can find different activities, and those places might actually have apps too, kind of like Amanda shared with the virtual one. So there are actually some apps that do that kind of thing. So it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. But yeah, Amanda totally covered so great all the ones that are available through Family Search. But there's lots of cool things out there that you can use to engage.
Okay. From Marcia again, for our Family History Committee, may I copy your syllabus?
Absolutely, share. That's what we want.
Well,
Yes,
and their ideas we found too online, so we
Yes.
can take credit for some of those.
Yes.
Probably a lot of those, because there's just so many ideas out there. The syllabus is available if you go to rootstech.org and go to our class online there. It's below the video player, so you can access it and download it. And yeah, feel free to share ideas and create more. Come up with more adaptations.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, and I will add, I definitely intend to share this whole presentation.
Cool. All right.
From Jane Fail, will you put the names of the Family Search apps in on the chat?
Oh, yeah, we totally can do that. In fact, Lindsay and I will both be in the chat. And so feel free to continue asking questions there, and we'll be in off and on throughout the conference. So we'll answer any questions. We'll post the apps, and we'll post the relatives at Roots Tech too in the chat.
Great. I think that's all the questions we have right now, but as mentioned, the chat will still be up. If you have more questions, they can definitely get posted there.
Great. Well, we've had so much fun. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope that you've been inspired with 1 or 2 ideas that you can take and share with your friends, with your family, with others, and just continue making those discoveries about yourself, about your family, and make those connections, because that is just so important in today's world, and especially for our younger generations. We want to continue connecting those generations together. So thanks so much for joining us, and feel free again to meet us out in the chat.
Thank you.
Have a great day.